All right, guys. Penguins, aka Moist Critical, just dropped a video called "Is YouTube Streaming a Failure?" And I don't stream on YouTube, but I've actually I was planning on starting to kind of look into it a little bit. But let's see what he has to say about it.
Did YouTube streaming fail? I'm using past tense because according to a lot of people, it's already buried 6 feet under.
Yeah, that's what I thought before I even started on with Twitch. But man, it feels like every streaming site you go to, there's people are like, no, it's dead or dying. You're like, no.
There's been a lot of YouTube exclusive streamers over the last month or so that have announced that they're moving back to Twitch or that they're going to be multi-streaming now that their YouTube contracts are up. So the perception is that every YouTube streamer is basically just in purgatory, scratching at their neck, waiting to get back to Twitch, and it kind of has the same reputation.
Oh, I feel like it's felt like that for years, though. I felt like the people that did go to YouTube, they just disappear for a while, and then when they come back, they're like, hey, they're doing something. I see Facebook streamers more than I see YouTube streamers, which is insane.
Mixer did a long time ago, God rest its soul.
Fucking Mixer.
Where people that were previously on Twitch took a bag from YouTube, had a little paid vacation for a year or two, and then go back to Twitch eventually. And as a former full-time streamer on both platforms, I feel like I'm John Constantine, walking the line between worlds here.
He could pull that roll off so well. Moist good.
And sure. I feel like I just have oodles of insight on this subject. Now, since I've entered my senile years, I have elected to go part-time, so you can hang that jersey in the rafters, or if you're a tier 3 sub on Twitch, you can go ahead and downgrade that puppy or just stop it altogether, because at this point it's kind of like the GameStop trade-in of value. You're not getting a whole lot of bang for your buck with how little I've been streaming recently. I did stream all weekend for the Apex Major in Germany. We were watch partying our squad. Absolutely fucking clapping cheeks out there. Just posted a video on that as well if you'd rather watch, like, the condensed version. So it's
I'm not super familiar with a lot of the esports. As much as I love video games, you'd think that would be something I pay attention to. Just in the last couple of years, I started paying attention to that kind of stuff, and it's been pretty fun.
The topic I really want to explore, and it turns out Ludwig already beat me to it, that rascal. So I kind of want to just go through his video and drop some more tiddlywinks of information about all of it.
Have you been noticing this trend where people who are signed to YouTube live streaming contracts, the day their contract ends, switch right back to Twitch or start multi-streaming?
Yeah, that's a phenomenon that's more common than the cold. You would be hard-pressed to find any Twitch streamers that switched to YouTube streaming and haven't already switched back over the last year or so to Twitch, or at the very least started multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. There are less of them than there is hair on my chest, and look at what we're working with here. Everyone
He said, look what we're working with here. It's wild just because of how popular the video content is on YouTube. You'd think that the streaming aspect wouldn't be too hard to... I feel like they could even tie this into like YouTube TV so it's more accessible and all the... I don't know. That's just me, though.
Seemingly that switched to YouTube streaming either through YouTube contracts or through Twitch's fumbling over the last couple of years with like some policy changes as well as like some platform direction that people were upset with, have over the last year or so switched back because Twitch started to find their footing again with some of the changes and changing things around, like reverting a couple of things, as well as YouTube no longer doing streaming contracts. So it seems like everyone's flooding back to Twitch the second they can.
Yeah.
YouTube and YouTube Live not changing isn't because they move slow. It's because YouTube Live isn't a priority for YouTube. But your friends that went to YouTube...
That's a valid point, honestly. That's a great point. Their concentration is videos and monetization.
We're all coming.
I guess they all are, aren't they?
Back, Sushi.
Yes. Yeah.
Dan Clancy, cool as a cucumber here. I'm actually shocked he didn't have a cigar in his mouth delivering this little speech. Like, he's basically just dancing on the grave of YouTube's reputation in the public eye. There was a time when everyone, myself included, thought YouTube was going to be a real threat to Twitch's market share. Because Twitch has had the streaming ecosystem in a titty twister for years. They've had the nipple clamps on those honkers. And YouTube started to get a lot of momentum with streamers that were native to Twitch switching to YouTube even without a contract. But it seems most streamers grew tired of YouTube doing absolutely nothing besides letting the streaming element of their site wither, fester, and die. So pretty much all of them have switched back to Twitch at this point, except for the ones that are still under contract or banned from Twitch. But there was a moment where it really did seem like YouTube was encroaching on Twitch's stranglehold on the industry.
Sure.
And at the height of this, Dan Clancy was interviewed asking, are they panicking? Are they worried about Twitch users switching to rival platforms? Is Twitch going to do anything to keep users and streamers on their site? It was also public knowledge at this time that Twitch had completely stopped doing contracts for even their biggest streamers. They just put the kibosh on contracts entirely. And Dan Clancy
I didn't realize
just
that.
said,
I didn't know all that, to be honest with you. But then again, I mean, I'm only been streaming for 2000. When did I first do it? 2020, 2000. Yeah, I want to say 2020. So first 2 years were on and off, of course, and then doing very well here. Damn, goes quick, but there's a lot of info and history behind all this stuff that I'm just not aware of. So it's kind of cool to sit back and learn a little bit.
nope. In fact, he encouraged everyone to try alternatives. Like if they want to stream on YouTube and Kick, go for it. Go hog wild. He said that he believed that all of them would be back to Twitch because he believed in the platform being the best that streaming had to offer.
He was right.
And it seems like his bet has paid off so far. Like Luigi, he won without having to do anything. It seems most streamers that went to other platforms are all starting to flock back to Twitch.
Yep.
When Myth ended his YouTube contract, I believe he took a break. He stopped streaming on YouTube. Lily, the moment her contract ended, switched back over to Twitch. Dr. Lupo, when his contract ended, started multi-streaming. Tim the Tatman today said he was going to start multi-streaming on Twitch and YouTube. And look, his viewership is better on Twitch after 3 years, I think, on YouTube.
Yeah, that's insane. That is insane. Because, I mean, he's a big name, too. Oh,
than
wow.
it is right now on YouTube.
And that's a pretty crazy thing. So the perception and the fear for a lot of streamers was if they left Twitch, if they ever decided to come back, their viewership wouldn't be what it once was, or their sub count would be significantly lower. But time and time again, it seems like that's just not the case. Not just Tim the Tatman, but there's been other streamers that have gone to other platforms that have come back to Twitch and have been in pretty much the exact same spot that they left off in, no matter how many years had passed.
Which is insane.
Everybody knows when you switch platforms, your audience doesn't necessarily follow you. You're definitely not getting the whole kit and caboodle to come over to the new platform that you've come to. You're lucky to get like even a fraction of it.
Like 10%.
Yeah, you'll hit, like huge.
You're probably going to get like around 10%. That's what I would assume, making a swap like that. Just from like, not video content wise, but like swapping stuff with my publishing stuff, like when it comes to groups and stuff, transferring from one to another website. Holy fuck, I can't talk. Transferring from one website to another, and you'll just lose mass amount of people. You'll keep a few core regulars, but that's about it.
Huge peaks for the first couple of streams with people like, trickling in just to check it out. But that audience you built up on the previous platform, they're most likely just going to go back to that because that's the platform they're most comfortable on. Mm-hmm. So if you're not on it, they'll probably just find another streamer, and maybe they'll occasionally tune into you on the other platform. But for the most part, they don't get converted to the new platform that you've switched to. So with the example here, Tim the Tatman, he built up a YouTube streaming audience, and now that he went back to Twitch, that Twitch audience he used to have, it seems like they're still using Twitch and look to be receptive to Tim the Tatman being back on their preferred platform.
Come on back,
so his
baby!
Viewership has kind of stayed pretty much the same there.
And nothing fucking changed. He's literally doing better on Twitch. And you might be wondering, okay, why are streamers switching back to Twitch? Well, one might be because they do better. They get more viewers. Two, it's because they also make more money.
I saw someone say sub count, by the way, earlier. I didn't answer it. I apologize. I'm not making up messages here. We are at 6.3.
Crowd, our game's over.
If you have an official number,
I'm joining up.
We're probably closer to 6.5 if I had to guess.
And Tim basically says he got 6,500 subs in one single stream on Twitch, and on YouTube he had 14,000 subs. So he basically got almost half his subscriber count in one day. So he's going to start making more money from Twitch subs than he ever did from YouTube members.
That is another huge thing. That one is a big old fucking set to wumbo explanation for why a lot of people will switch back to Twitch. The earning potential on YouTube streams is substantially lower than it is on Twitch. Twitch is a platform with culture. Chat experience on Twitch has always and will always be better than YouTube. Period. Hands down.
Yeah.
There's nothing YouTube can do to really beat that, and it doesn't seem like YouTube's even trying. They're just...
No, like that was one thing. I streamed, I think, like one time on YouTube, maybe twice, and it was exact, like, I was like, the chat's weird, like, it just doesn't flow right, and yeah.
Waving the white flag on that. They're just eating the huge fucking L on just having a bad chat experience compared to Twitch. But also, Twitch just has a culture of subbing. Like, Twitch has Prime subs, which is something you can do for free for your favorite streamer, where you sub to them with Twitch Prime, and it's free for you, and the streamer gets paid. Like, that is a deal YouTube just can't match. And it's extremely beneficial to the streamers on Twitch. So Tim the Tap Man can make in one day what it took 3 years for him to make on YouTube, at least when it comes to like membership numbers versus sub numbers. So YouTube has a sub equivalent with members, but nobody fucking uses it. Most people don't even know it exists. Also, it's not even functional on mobile. You have to go outside of the YouTube app on like a different browser on your phone in order to find the join button for most channels. Like, it's not something that's integrated into YouTube streaming. So most streamers on YouTube will never come close to the amount of subs a Twitch streamer will have. And they won't even...
I just feel like Twitch is set up so much better to be like, when shit's popping, like the hype is through the roof. You know what I mean? And YouTube, it always just felt very chill, even when things were packed. I don't know. Just feels a lot more hectic on Twitch too, but in an exciting way for the most part.
Come close to the amount of money a Twitch streamer earns if they are streaming on YouTube. So that's another really enticing reason why a lot of people that were streaming on YouTube are going back to Twitch. Also, another obvious one is discoverability. The main critique of YouTube streaming since its inception has been how hard it is to navigate and how difficult it is to even find streams in the fucking first place.
Yep.
And they have done little to improve that. Any channels that have found success streaming on YouTube are channels that already had an audience before they started streaming or had an audience from elsewhere that came in for those YouTube streams. Anyone that's just starting with streaming on YouTube, it's not going to bring in any viewers because discoverability is non-existent. YouTube is actually really good when it comes to like event streams though. So this is something Ludwig also talks about. If a big moment happens in an event, like grand finals is going on in some kind of big tournament, and a lot of people start flooding in, well, YouTube recognizes that and then actually starts recommending that stream outside of the normal little bubble, like the quarantine unit that it keeps streams in. So then you actually will get some eyes on it. But if you're like just daily streaming normal shit or just starting out streaming, you're not going to have that stream go to anyone outside of whatever audience you've already built up going into it. You have better odds of writing your YouTube handle on a paper airplane and throwing it out of your window and hoping a neighbor sees it and checks it out than you do just streaming on YouTube and relying on them to push it. It doesn't happen. Whereas on Twitch, even though there are so many streamers to compete with in every category, your odds of being seen are higher. Your potential to have some viewers trickle in is just higher on Twitch.
If you look at the most watched major streaming platforms by hours watched of live broadcasts, Q2 of this year, YouTube gaps Twitch. It's not close.
What?
3 times bigger, 15 billion.
How is that? Oh, is it counting like, that's got to be counting like total, like all videos, right? Like including just non-live content?
However, that doesn't exactly tell the full story. Because if you look at this, you also have to include, you know, some people like YouTube's biggest live streamer by hours watched, which is not iShowSpeed. It is Lo-Fi Girl.
Yeah, so just looking at...
Okay. So they have like, Lo-Fi Girl is basically like study music, right? It's just beats. And it's probably just streams for just forever, right? That makes kind of sense. That made sense. But I thought people on Twitch do that too, don't they?
At the cold, hard Carfax here, looking at these numbers, taking a peek under the hood, it looks like on the surface YouTube is slapping Twitch around when it comes to these numbers.
Yeah.
But it's really not. Because these numbers are bloated just by the sheer volume of streams that are going on that are just literally always on. So like Lo-Fi Girl, probably the biggest stream in the world when it comes to watch hours. Like the watch time on that is absurd because it's 24/7 nonstop with tens of thousands of viewers that are idly just listening to it in the background or have it on while they sleep. So it's not like the healthiest number that they have here. It's just the biggest one. So it doesn't really tell the full story. And Lud also mentioned some other very, very popular streams on YouTube that really inflate the fuck out of those numbers.
Things like Lo-Fi Girl or videos playing on loop or what there's a bunch of on YouTube Live, which is scams. In fact, one of the biggest live streams right now on YouTube is Tesla, except it's not Tesla. It is a scam account with 20,000
Oh my god, dude.
subscribers with
That's embarrassing.
86,000 bots watching to give it some credibility. So people click on it who aren't part of the bot number, and then they scan this code, and then they lose all of their crypto. Do not scan this code. I'm showing this as an example of YouTube's corrupt botting problem.
If anybody actually scanned that QR code from Ludwig's video, I believe that it is now Ludwig's responsibility to pay you back for all of your lost crypto.
What a
He
dick.
is liable now because Ludwig scammed you. I had the decency to censor the scam QR code. I'm just being a little goofster. If anyone...
I love this among friends. Just like acting like you're like I do this with my buddy Dugan a lot. Like I'll be like, I can't believe he did this shit to you. You know what he did? Or Chuck even. I do this to Chuck as well. But like, you know, he did this, and I'll like break him down like he looks like a fucking asshole. And I'm like, this is what I did to fix it. Just for the sheer fun of doing it, right? Guys are idiots. It's so much fun.
Actually scans that QR code and loses all their crypto, they 100% deserve it for being an unfathomably stupid buffoon. I will never be able to wrap my head around who actually falls for those. I truly don't understand it. Like, I know the default answer is like old people. I don't believe that because they probably don't have crypto in the first place. But anyway, what Ludwig is highlighting here is that these scams have tons and tons of viewership, last for quite a long time, thus bump those numbers up on the YouTube streaming hours.
It is kind of wild that you can just like buy viewers and subs and all that shit. It's ridiculous. It really is. It pisses
and they're
me off.
not real. Like, you can probably find 10 of these streams going on right now. Like, that also tells me the scam must be pretty successful. There must be some people falling for it. I don't know how, you absolute imbeciles, but there's tons of them happening all the time,
You
inflating
imbeciles?
those numbers, and YouTube doesn't do anything about it. It doesn't seem.
Like actual streamers, actual people who are streaming video games. Well, then the contest becomes a lot more fair. And there are still a lot of huge streamers. I mean, look, Steak right now is live with 41,000 viewers. That is massive. That is a huge stream.
When you look at
I've
the
never heard of
actual
Steak.
streams going on with real sentient human beings behind them, the number gets a lot lower than you would expect given the huge number that you can see in the data. Especially when you look at gaming in particular, the number there is lower than Twitch. Twitch is beating them like my meat in that department.
Jesus
So
Christ.
if I were to rephrase the question, is YouTube live streaming a failure? In America, in English-speaking countries, kind of. Yeah, maybe a little bit. They're not doing as well as people thought they would. Across the world, fuck no. They're doing amazing. They are crushing. And you know this is true if you watch VTubers. VTubers crush on YouTube, man. All of Asia seems to prefer YouTube for a live streaming platform, and it makes sense.
And this is something I've been saying for a while as well. Internationally, YouTube streaming is huge, but in America, it's definitely second fiddle to Twitch. The biggest breakout star on YouTube streaming is obviously iShowSpeed. But outside of Speed, all the other big English-speaking streamers are on Twitch. But internationally, YouTube's doing very well. Ludwig also gave an example about how Twitch abandoned South Korea recently, so there's just a lot of places that are preferring YouTube for streaming. outside of America. And another thing, YouTube's player is just better than Twitch's. You can rewind the stream if you want to. The bitrate is higher.
Fair.
The streams look better. So if you're someone that just likes to kick back and watch a stream and not really interact at all, YouTube's player is going to be very enticing and probably going to be the preferred platform for you. But
I mean, honestly, that makes sense because that's exactly the vibe I got from when, like, the few times that I streamed on there. Stuff runs smoothly. It's just kind of it's more chill, a lot less hectic. Yeah. I definitely think I prefer Twitch. It just seems a little bit more fun. Uh-oh.
A lot of people who watch streaming because they like the interactive element of it. And that's where Twitch destroys YouTube. It has an entire culture to its chat. So a lot of people, well, I'm not even going to say a lot of people, everybody prefers the Twitch chat experience. Like, there's very few people that like the YouTube chat experience.
Twitch chat
really
is king.
Isn't one. Like, even going to the biggest streams, you're not going to see a whole lot going on in the chat aside from, like, some spam here and there. But on Twitch, you'll see, like, entire discussions happening in chat or, like, a bunch of, like, inside jokes and all kinds of shit that just makes it feel like a real community as opposed to on YouTube's chat experience. Overall, I have a similar take.
I agree with that 110%.
As Ludwig when it comes to whether or not YouTube streaming is a failure. Overall, it's not because it's doing so well internationally, but when it comes to English-speaking streaming content, it definitely is well behind Twitch. Yes, it is gaining a little bit, but more and more streamers are just switching back to Twitch. A lot of the influx came from seeing big streamers come to YouTube and people following that path. And now that even more are going back to Twitch, I think that's going to continue to happen. But yeah, it doesn't mean YouTube streaming as a whole is dead or a complete failure. It just really lost all of its...
It needs an entire revamp, honestly. Like, in certain areas, like the way it's set up on YouTube's channel even, like I said, there's nothing that really promotes it. It's hard to kind of get to. I don't know. It's...
footing in America. I do, however, disagree with Ludwig on a pretty big thing, which is multi-streaming. I started multi-streaming almost a year ago now, and I actually think it was an incredibly good decision, and one that I still believe is a very smart decision for many streamers regardless of their size. Ludwig believes that multi-streaming isn't great because it makes your viewers spread out. So it basically splinters them between two platforms, which makes it very difficult to reach the consistently high highs of some of like the top streamers on Twitch. By being married to one platform in particular, you can cultivate that audience and grow it there, so that way you're at the top of those categories consistently, like on Twitch or something, so you'll keep getting new viewers and reach insane.
I think that idea is okay. Like, obviously Ludwig is way more successful than I am. That being said, I do feel like if you're streaming on one platform, and as long as you're uploading, whether it's long form or short form content, up as well, so you're not just permanently losing all that culture and like history that you're building up within your channel. I think you're probably fine with a single. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But let's see what Moist's point is.
In peak viewership, because as more people find you, more people talk about you, and it just keeps feeding that fire, as opposed to having a lower number on that platform because some of the viewers are watching you on a different platform, so then not as many people are seeing it and talking about it. And like, I get the point, but I do think that being on two different platforms is reaching two different audiences, and I think that's pretty clear looking at like Tim the Tatman here, right? Like, his YouTube number is lower than his Twitch number, even though he started as a Twitch streamer and spent 3 years as a YouTube streamer. It's pretty clear that those have to be different viewers that are being reached. And I think there's a lot of value in that. For one, I think it's better for viewers because you give them the option to watch you on their favorite platform. So the viewers that prefer YouTube can watch you there if they want like the better player, or they can watch you on Twitch if they want the better interactive experience with chat. And I think it's good for the streamer too, because you're reaching two separate audiences at the same time. The YouTube audience and the Twitch audience, yes, there's definitely going to be overlap, but it's not like it's the same audience on both platforms that's been fractured. It's two separate ones, and I think there's definitely benefits there, because if he wasn't multi-streaming, for example, he was only on Twitch, The 11,000 people on YouTube that were watching Tim might not be watching him on Twitch, so he'd stay at 17,000 over there and completely miss out on 11,000 eyeballs from YouTube.
Yeah, I guess he does make a pretty good point that, like, you're going to have brand loyal people to certain apps. So, like, you have some people that aren't going to leave Facebook, some people that won't leave YouTube. So you aren't going to be hitting them regardless of, like, if you stay on one thing, you're not ever going to reach them because they're not going to go to Twitch for you. Sorry, I thought I heard my dog doing something. Okay. Anyways, yeah. I mean, some really, really good points here. I honestly feel like I should start multi-streaming now just because of this.
Plus, there is the added benefit that YouTube VODs are significantly better than Twitch VODs. So, when he finishes that multi-stream, his YouTube stream immediately saves as a video to his channel in the live tab that viewers can go back and watch. And also, that gets put into the algorithm pretty often. There are streams that'll pop up in recommended, even if you're not someone already watching streams on YouTube, if there's some type of overlap in the algorithm between what video you watched and what stream gets popped up. So it also helps you in that regard, reaching a new audience that maybe found you through a VOD and then chooses to watch you on YouTube.
That's a good point.
So I just really think there's a lot of things that make multi-streaming a good idea, regardless of how big a streamer is. I think it's a very, very good idea for someone that's just starting out streaming, because you want to lat spread as much as possible to get your lats exposed to whoever is on whatever platform. Just spreading your wings as far and wide as they can go on as many platforms.
Fly, little birdie, fly.
Great for anyone that's just starting with streaming, which I know Ludwig does agree with. He mentions that, and he also mentions...
Okay, he just convinced me. He convinced me. Okay, I need to start multi-streaming. I've been thinking about this for months, and being full-time, I definitely probably should, and, you know, getting started. But I was kind of looking at things in the way of Ludwig was, actually. So, but I really like his points. I didn't really think about people being brand loyal to a social media app, and like we all have bias, like what we prefer. Like if I'm going to look up short form content, it's going to be TikTok. That's my go-to. Everything else just feels like a knockoff of TikTok. Even YouTube's are like, eh. If I'm going for video content, YouTube. And if I'm going for streaming, I go Twitch. I don't ever watch YouTube streams. Ever. There's been a few I've watched, and those were when Stick would first get started. I'd sit in there and lurk. But other than that, that was it.
Mentions that multi-streaming is optimal for events. He thinks that's the one that makes the most sense. And he's right. Multi-streaming events is a great idea because it puts the event in front of so many other eyeballs. But I do really think it's a very viable strategy for just daily, consistent streamers as well. It just puts your content to more people, and I don't think it necessarily fractures your viewership all that much, because I really am starting to believe there isn't a ton of overlap between Twitch viewers and YouTube viewers. I think they stay in their own pockets with their preferred platforms, so I don't even think you take a huge viewership hit when you start multi-streaming.
Damn.
When I started multi-streaming, I was averaging like 11 or 12,000 viewers on Twitch, and then I started multi-streaming, and then my average on Twitch went down to like 8 or 9,000, so it was a little bit, but then I gained about 15,000 on YouTube. So, you know, it really doesn't seem like it's that big of a trade-off when it comes to multi-streaming. I really think it's more positives than negatives.
The other thing I was kind of wondering with multi-streaming, I always feel like the chat would feel disconnected in a way if I'm talking with somebody that they're not seeing themselves. Like some people like the chatting aspect of Twitch, and it might be frustrating if I'm talking to somebody and they can't even see who the hell I'm talking to. I don't know. That was just my process with it. But we only got like 10 seconds left here of this video, so let's. But
anyway, I just wanted to yap about this as a part-time streamer. Just kind of wanted to weigh in here. That's about it. See ya.
Love it. I really like his thoughts. I'm gonna pull this up here. Obviously, sub, like, get your asses over there, guys. If you enjoyed the video, I think that video was really good. He did some obviously he just converted me into thinking that this might be a good idea when I was kind of, like I said, on the way Ludwig was thinking about it. That's kind of the way I was going about it in my head as well. But he makes some really damn good points, and I might give that a go. I think that could be fun, and maybe reach some of those people that aren't hopping around to different platforms. They don't want to come find me on Twitch. Anyways, yeah, definitely make sure you guys sub, like. I liked the video. It was fantastic. Shout out to him. I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I think it might be as well, Rin.